How would I go about creating this piece? So first of all, the perspective, or rather the concept for this and the perspective view for this is not completely and absolutely accurate. So there's going to be like a little compromise in here. So what I'm going to do is this. Let's see. Okay, so I'll start with and come down to modeling. Start with, let me make sure on the front view for this turn of the grid. I'd like to create a pipe, and I'd like to use the interactive creation mode instead. Softly, something around the nature of this. Let's give this some height information. The thickness should be around here. So let me show you what I'm using for the thickness. So if I should come in here, so the thickness is what the thickness for this piece I'm using is this distance from here all the way down here. So all the way like so. Let me just do a screenshot of this instead. Okay, so this, let me just zoom out, temporarily hide this for now. So the thickness for this would be, let's depend like, okay, thickness for this would be this part. See what I'm using for the thickness of the shape. Obviously the thickness are not equal all around, because when you when you start doing your sculpting around this, you're going to have to kind of adjust more thickness for this, but I'm sure you get the general idea. This is the thickness I'm going to be using. This is not going to be a thickness. This is like kind of a deception on the perspective view, or rather on the front view, because this is like a concept art. So it's not entirely going to be like this. I'll show you why in a bit. It's going to be slightly different. If I bring this back and come back to the front view, so if I go back to wireframe, you can see I've kind of mapped out the thickness somewhat, like close to it. Though not completely there, but this will work just fine. Okay, so then I'll come in here, then I'm going to change this to, I want to put it to somewhere around 8, just to have something low enough to work with. So I can, if I have this in the center of my mesh, I can do I can do like under symmetry object X. So if I should go to vertex position, if I select this vert on this side now, I can easily move and adjust this like so. So I'm trying to kind of block out the thickness for this. So I'm basically blocking out the thickness. Something somewhat around here should be fine. I'm basically just creating like an approximation to it. Just an approximation to it. So now obviously we can start adding some extra edge loop around here that would help us hold the shape properly. Then I will add another one. I'll hit G on the keyboard to go to the previously used tool, which is the cut tool. Add the cut here. Just kind of get this like so. Something like this should be fine. Okay. We extend these edges out a bit more. Okay. Obviously, we're still going to kind of add some cuts around here, some edge loop around here, just to make sure we have even edge loops around this entire mesh. Should probably even do that now. I EG to go to the multi-cut to previously used to, which is the multi-cut tool. Add some cuts around here. Okay, it should be fine. So now I can go to the perspective view. Go to objects mode. Now this is just way too thick. Okay, something like so. Then I'm going to make a cut in the center, directly on the center of this mesh. So holding control, then holding down shift to kind of find the center of this. I'll click around here. I'll do the same thing also around here. Holding control and holding shift to find the center part and then create something like so. Then I'll go to the edge mode for this. So double click on this edge loop. Double click on this edge loop. And I'll do a bevel. Something like this. Something like that should be just fine. It's kind of perfect. 0.5 should be just fine. Then I'll start with the inner part. So face mode. Double click this entire loop. And I'll come back in here. So what I'm going to do now is to go to the name. I have to make sure I turn off this for now. Turn off the symmetry, this object symmetry off. Turn off symmetry. Make sure symmetry is turned off. Select this again so I can have my gizmo or my pivot on the center of this mesh. Then I'm going to create this. I'm going to create this middle part in here, because there's like an extrusion on this middle part, kind of. So I'm going to just come in here and just move this out like so until I get something like this. You can see how it meets, kind of make sure it kind of finds this edge around here, something like so. Something like this should be fine. Should probably use a blink material for this so you can see it properly. Hit by type history, blink. Yeah, something like this so you can see it properly. Then I'll do the same thing also for this other side. Something like this. I'll come back in here. So I'm sure you get the idea now. So this should kind of extend all the way to this part. Maybe not completely there though, but at least something close enough. At this point, you want to kind of ignore the reference to some point because it's not completely symmetrical in a way. So I'll do this now. Then I'll go to my move tool and just try to get this around, just to push this up a bit higher like so, just to get something somewhat like this. Maybe extend this out like this a bit more with the scale tool in this axis, in the y-axis. Then what I'm going to do now is I know that some of these edges needs to be sharp. Like this edge now needs to be sharp, so double click on this edge. Maybe I can turn on the symmetry now on this edge. double click on this edge just to make them sharp. Double click on this edge. Then I'll do, okay, I don't think I will need to do that for this part in here. Then I'll just do a bevel. Then reduce this fraction like so, and add one segment in the middle, something like this. Then double click this edge, the inner edge, double click this inner edge, double click this edge, double click the other edge also. I'll do a bevel also in here, kind of reduce the fraction and add one segment in there. So now if I should do an auto smooth on this now, I should be having something like this, which should be just fine. Something like this, but depending on the, let me just do like an approximation, because an approximation for this shape at the top here, just to give you an idea. So something else you need to do in there, but this will work, this will work just fine. So let us go to the top view. Let me extend this out a bit more, something like this. Okay, click out. Let's add a cylinder, just to cylinder in here, because there's a shape, there's actually a shape in here, this shape, round shape around here. Let me see if I can find it from our screenshot. There's actually a shape around here, there's a shape in here, and that shape is coming from this shape. It's more or less like continuing that on around here all the way here. So this part should be, this particular shape now just created now should be where it is. So all you have to do is just to extrude, since you've already created this shape already, just extrude the bottom of the shape all the way down here. So let me just give you an idea of what you should do, or what it should kind of look like. So if you're extruding the shape, if you're extruding that cylinder, the cylindrical shape down here, so it should just be resting, somewhere around here. Let me just extend this here, something around here. So it should just be resting somewhere around here like so. So and that's just basically it.